Hello everyone, this is Boricua Binks and welcome back to Let's Play the Great Ace Attorney Chronicles, where we are continuing on in the 5th case of the game, The Adventure of the Unspeakable Story. Alright, now we gotta deal with Eggs Benedict over here. Oh, they look so zoomed in to me for some reason. Oof. How am I going to resolve this? Alright, we got some angry people here. I feel like in this situation, maybe we can have Sherlock help us out. Sherlock? Sherlock, please. Please assist. Mr. Holmes, what are you examining with such keen interest there? As you enjoy a bar of caramel, I see. Oh, this is new. Completely ignoring us. Turned his back on us. What's going on? So, you found me at last, Mr. Naruhodo. Oh, is he angry because he was being ignored? What? Sorry? After that young pickpocket sent me on my way, I was forced to lurk in the shadows. I was ignored. I was pushed out of the spotlight. Bruh, get over it. Cruelly ostracized as the rest of you partook in a jovial atmosphere of fellowship. I had nothing to occupy my mind, but was too ashamed to let society see what my downfall had done to me. So, feigning mock interest, I pretended to examine the tedious trinkets in this desolate place. Whilst, as you shrewdly observed, gnawing on the only friend I have left, the 7% solution of caramel. Oh! First of all, does that say Sholmes Caramel? You have your own brand, sir? And second of all, if you are a fan of Sherlock, then you would know this, but the 7% solution is usually uh, in reference to the drug that he likes to take, because originally he was addicted to certain drugs, and yeah, certain sometimes they'll adapt it, like they'll make it cigarettes, like he's addicted to nicotine. But basically the reason he would take drugs was to like help him think and focus. It's almost like you know how in college sometimes students become addicted and abuse Ritalin, which is a drug for ADHD or ADD. But yeah, it's something like that. Like he feels like it helps him solve mysteries quicker and easier, but it's really unhealthy. So of course Watson would always get on his case, like, dude, you're gonna kill yourself taking these drugs. Please stop. But yeah, 7% solution is what he called the drugs that he partook in the books and stuff. So that's funny how they are referencing it here for candy. So instead of nicotine, instead of cigarettes, they're trying to say, okay, his drug of choice is going to be candy. It's going to be caramel, which it has caffeine, I think. I mean, some chocolate bars do have caffeine. So I don't know if this one does, but if it does, then maybe we're just going to say he's a caffeine addict. Pray, do you claim to understand the depths of my despair, Mr. Naruhodo? But how could you? I was so lonely, so desperately lonely. Bruh, it was 5 minutes. You can't be left alone for 5 minutes, sir? Come on, he's like a freaking toddler. So recently, last weekend, we had rescued a dog that we found in an alleyway. And he was really cute, but he was a puppy, and so he was like 100% all the time, energetic, wanted to play, kept bothering my dog Kiki. Kiki didn't like him, so I couldn't even record this episode on the weekend because I was so busy taking care of him. Thankfully we found his owner, because if we had to keep him, I would have died. I went a whole night without sleep because of him, because he kept crying and wanting attention, and he didn't want to be left alone, and every time I turned off the light, he was crying, and I was trying to sleep, and he wouldn't let me sleep. But anyway, this is what he reminds me of. You remind me of the puppy that we saved. He was really cute, but he's needy, very needy. Then why on earth didn't you rejoin the conversation? Things have gone from bad to worse here, you know. You could have stepped in like a responsible adult. No, I'm not going to join unless I'm invited. Yes, I overheard much of your conversation. Or rather, in my craving for human contact, my ears devoured every word that was uttered. You really were sad, weren't you? Why are you feeling sorry for this man? He has issues. Don't feed into his ego. Poor Mr. Holmes. I feel simply awful for you. It would seem that my inferences are correct. Oh, surely you're not about to tell us that you've solved the entire case once again? Of course I have. My dear madam, sometimes I wonder, were my genius for deduction to be commoditized? Commoditized? Okay. So, I guess... I've never heard it said that way, but, like, I guess if you had to pay for it, if it's something that could be bought. How much could I pawn it for? It seems Mr. Holmes has had another of his flashes of inspiration. Of course, I'm gonna have to correct him as usual. But who knows if it will help to resolve the situation between Miss Lestrade and the mysterious gentleman. Don't call him a gentleman, he's a weirdo. He is a weirdo. He's even weirder than Sherlock. Sherlock felt left out because he's like, oh, someone else has taken my spotlight. Someone else has taken my crown of being the eccentric weirdo. What's the right thing to do here? Why would I leave it? What? That would just make him sulk even more, right? Unless we'd have to repeat the whole conversation. I'm kind of curious what would happen if we said leave it. I'm debating. I don't know if it'd be funny. Like, would he just, like, pout and complain and whine? Oh, I'm curious. Okay, fine. I hope this doesn't take too long, guys. I just really want to know. Okay. Let's see. I don't know. If Mr. Holmes starts on one of his wild, rambling deductions now, it could just fan the flames of this argument. I think it would be sensible to try something else. Mr. Naruhodo, what are you saying? The great detective has made one of his great deductions. He's sure to cut straight to the heart of the matter. She says as she forgets every time we had to correct his deductions. That's what I'm worried about. We don't need any more cuts around here. Dear me, you seem decidedly agitated. Clearly, I shall have to take the reins. Oh, okay. I guess it doesn't matter. He's gonna do it anyway. Yes, please do, Mr. Holmes. Looks like we're going to hear this deduction, whether I like it or not. Okay. No big deal. I don't have to go back then. Yeah. One of those choices that's not really a choice. Well, Miss Lestrade, it would appear you find yourself in something of a predicament. Where the blue blazes have you been, eh? Pardon, I believe it was you who banished me to the nether realm. When a lady's in trouble, a true gent's supposed to be there to help. Straight away, not an hour later. Harsh. The way he just fell down. Oh god, there's two of them. There's two extra people. No. So I was also thinking, since now we're gonna have Sherlock and him at the same time, I feel like the voice I gave Benedict might be a little too similar, so I want to kind of change it up. Let's see. And who, pray tell, are you? A little deeper, maybe? And even more extra and pompous. Mr. Eggert Benedict. You have in my eyes a veritably encyclopedic array of curiosities about your person. Nevertheless, there are two immovable conclusions I have drawn. I beg your pardon. The first is this. The true reason for your visit to this pawnbrokery today is something you have not yet revealed. Ugh. And the second is this. A considerable crime is in contemplation, one you will orchestrate with intent to steal a vast sum of money. Well, Mr. Benedict, what say you to my deductions? Oh. He's turned as white as a hard-boiled egg. Ah ha ha ha. Nice. It would seem that once again, Mr. Holmes has made a flawless deduction. Just who do you think you are, sir? Ah yes, as I had hoped. That is precisely the pained expression I was looking for. Ooh, Sherlock is a sadist. I was about to say masochist. Well, maybe he is. Maybe he's a little bit of both. But that's clearly a sadist right there. Like, oh yes, show me your pain. Suffer! So, shall we begin? The time has come for yet another Sherlock Holmes's logic and reasoning spectacular. Alright. A great deduction, the game is afoot. Topic 1. Mystery Man's aim. First of all, we must ask ourselves on what business you ventured to this pawnbrokery today. You claim to have followed this pickpocket here, having had the redemption ticket stolen from you on the street. But that is most certainly a lie. The real truth is something quite different. As revealed by that which you hold in your hand. Yes, what brought you to this shop in the first place is the staff recruitment flyer. Sherlock, come on, man. Also, in the background, now that we zoomed in, I see a picture of a doggy. That must be one of the creator or someone's dog. That's really cute. The piece of paper in your hand is a staff-wanted advertisement from this very shop. Yet even the most unobservant would soon realize that a man of your appearance has no need of such employ. In other words, there is some ulterior motive for your actions. The cane, which you unwittingly clutch to your person, exhibits an incontrovertible contradiction. What utter rot. I've had this cane for years. The contradiction of which I speak is, of course, the missing ferrule. I guess the bottom? The end of any walking cane would be terminated with a metal ferrule to protect the wooden tip. He has a point. Oh, that's interesting. And yet, detailed analysis shows the wooden tip of this stick to be utterly bare. Therefore, there is only one conclusion. The rod that you hold in your hand, which appears to be a walking cane, is in fact no cane at all. He's probably right about that? Because it looks kind of weird, right? Oh, did I hear something rip? Sir? Did you just rip the jacket? The coat? He's like, ugh. You recoil, sir. Is something wrong? Well, And in your recoiling, you inadvertently facilitate the answer of the next conundrum to present itself. Namely, what is the truth behind this rod you bear? Yes, your reaction betrays the truth. The handle, which you evidently would like to conceal, is the key to understanding this riddle, you see. No, I think he's hiding wherever it tore right now, right? From the moment I saw it, my suspicions were aroused. What walking cane demands such a stout handle? Mused I. But of course, as I said, this is no walking cane. No, that rod. Is the broken handle of a shovel. What? I've never seen a shovel that fancy. What? Are you insane? Oh, I thought I saw a little glimpse of his back. So the back is where the thing is torn, right? And now, having determined this undeniable truth, the conclusion is clear. Your true motive for coming here was to take employment at this establishment in order to excavate the ground beneath the premises. What? What a calculated crime you have conceived, sir. A wickedly calculated crime. No. Conclusion: to tunnel underneath the pawnbrokery. I mean, I don't know. The whole shovel thing is throwing me off. Okay, the great crime. Now, Mr. Benedict, let us continue. For we must expose the details of this elaborate crime you have in the planning. This is utterly absurd. You suggest that I, a gentleman, intend to excavate the ground beneath this pawnbrokery with a broken shovel. What on earth do you propose I could expect to find there? Oh, here we go with the stupid dance moves. Some long-forgotten treasure, I suppose. Save for such fanciful theory, what possible reason could I have to do as you say? Oh, but there is ample reason. As you are only too well aware, Mr. Benedict. He looked over there. Ah, and your furtive glance is more telling than I could have hoped. What? Let us consider what would motivate a man to infiltrate a shop such as this and covertly dig beneath its floor. The answer is revealed by the council notice on the counter to which your eyes were inadvertently drawn. No, I'm sure he was looking at the ledger, right? Or was it the gun? I don't know. He was looking at something else for sure. This letter gives notice of public works to be carried out in the local area. And according to the enclosed plan of the upcoming sewerage works, beneath this shop runs a sewer that adjoins another, one that runs under the bank on the opposite side of the road. This madness has entered the sewers now, has it? By excavating the ground beneath our feet, you would gain access to the waterway that flows in very close proximity to the great vault of the financial institution opposite. Oh? What are you? In summary, sir, you devised a master plan to pull off an elaborate bank robbery by dint of the underground tunnels. But I don't think he's after the bank. Isn't the pawn shop itself like a bank? So if he is wanting to dig or something, there must be something in the pawn shop that he wants, right? I thought it was the discs. Master plan! Oh, that's a new one. Which brings us at last to the final chapter of this lurid scheme. With what plunder did the thief hope to make off from the underground vault of the bank? Are you quite serious? Having consulted with Scotland Yard some days ago, I happen to know the answer. But naturally, the answer is no secret to you, is it, Mr. Benedict? I have no idea what you're talking about. Allow me to present a rather interesting piece of evidence. You see, this picture postcard tells us all we need to know. A postcard of the Great Exhibition? I'm afraid you've quite lost me. Currently in the final stages of preparation, the Great Exhibition will soon be underway, and the government has provided extra funds to complete its centerpiece, the Crystal Tower. Funds that currently sit in the vault of the bank on the other side of this road. Pardon? Yes, the considerable crime you have been contemplating is the theft of that which sits in the vault of that bank, the special reserve funds for the great exhibition. Of course, that is top secret police information, so keep it under your hat, please. I think you just gave away something you really shouldn't have. Alright. Great crime to steal the great exhibition's reserve funds. Alright. Thus concludes Sherlock Holmes's great deduction of this pawnbroking puzzle. Alright, that was a pretty lengthy one. Mr. Holmes. Well, Mr. Nodohodo, an impressively upbeat deduction for a detective racked with loneliness, would you not agree? Was it true what you said about the bank over the road and what it has in its vault? Indeed, though few know of its existence, it is one of the government's most closely guarded secrets, which I just happened to tell a whole bunch of people. Gregson told me in the strictest confidence. But you just announced it to everyone here. Rather loudly, in fact. Ah. Oh, love it. And if it's such a big secret, how would Mr. Benedict have come to find out about it? There can be but one explanation for that. Clearly, it is because the man is a criminal. But what if he didn't know anything about the money in the vault? If he is a criminal, as you said, then buying a brand new shovel is sure to be the first thing he does now that you've revealed the secret. Oh, shoot. I just gave him an idea. Or if he doesn't, maybe Mr. Windibank will. He already has plenty of shovels here after all. Kinda suspicious now that I think about it. Oh my life, I assure you I'm not so unscrupulous. Well, hopefully this has taught you a valuable lesson. Sensitive information must be handled with the utmost of care. Oh, Sherlock, when will you learn? When will you learn, sir? When will you learn? One can never be sure that someone privy to secrets won't disclose them, and once the word is out, it's out. Perhaps I'll think twice before confiding in... Oh, perhaps I'll think twice before confiding in you next time, Mr. Holmes. An excellent idea, Mr. Nodohodo. An excellent idea. No. No. Well then, Mr. Nodohodo, you know what to do, I'm sure? Yes, let's listen to that long, great deduction again, and see if we can massage it into shape. Wait, excuse me? Why? Massage it into shape? Especially with me saying long? It just feels wrong. Like a doll. I'm sorry. They were all rhyming. I just went with it. Very well then. Let us start once more from the beginning. Of Sherlock Holmes's magnificent logic and reasoning spectacular. Alright, course correction. Hold it, Mr. Holmes. Alright. Okay, what business? Follow this pickpocket here, which we know is a lie. Should be something quite different. Okay, it's definitely not that. Here we go. So, is it... If he's holding... do I have to check the other hand, or is it the actual cane? So, by Mr. Holmes's reasoning, Mr. Benedict came here in order to apply for a job so he could dig down through the floor. Yes, in an attempt to tunnel into the sewers to gain access to the money in the vault of the bank across the road. But he wouldn't get very far with a broken shovel, would he?
No, I think it's fair to say his motives lie elsewhere. The question is where? What did bring...
What did bring?
Oh, what did bring Mr. Benedict here at this particular point in time?
It looks weird, but yeah, okay, it works. What brought him to Windibanks? What? The cane? Staff recruitment flyer. Let's look. Can I move down? I'm trying to see his other hand. It's not letting me look as much as I thought it would. Oh, here. What's here? Oh no, nothing? I guess he's just posing? Oh! Look at this over here. I think that's a picture of somebody's cat. I don't know, it looks kind of strange. Is there anything else behind? I always struggle with this part of the game. There's really nothing in the hand? No, I guess not. They would have made it easier to pick up. Let's click on the cane for a sec.
That's a proper English gentleman's cane, isn't it? Look at the beautifully polished brass on the handle.
Yes, but Mr. Holmes is right. It's not the sort of handle you usually see on a cane.
Perhaps it's the latest London fashion. I mean, that's just guesswork, of course.
Perhaps you could adopt a cane, Mr. Nodohodo. It might rather suit you.
I have a feeling it might argue with the sword around my waist.
Hat. Oh, the hat. We can click on the hat? Is there something under it?
That silk top hat is whiter than white. Only an English gentleman could hope to carry off something so bright.
But it looks so incongruous with the black overcoat, don't you think? I said that weird.
Perhaps it's the latest London fashion. I mean, that's just guesswork, of course.
How about it, Mr. Nodohodo? I think you'd look very fetching in a white top hat.
Well, you know, I think it might look rather incongruous with my black university uniform, so...
Okay, stylish hat. Is there nothing else about him? Oh, there's something on the back! I didn't see that. Oh, that looks like a picture of Gina. Oh, look at all the scribbled notes on the back of the flyer here.
I don't believe it.
What is it?
Listen to what it says. Name, Gina Lestrade, height, 5'2". Green cap, scruffy waistcoat, grubby white shirt, blue satchel, ragged. It's a detailed description of Miss Lestrade.
Goodness.
There's even a sketch of her, hat and all. Although, if he showed it to her, she'd fire that smoke grenade launcher in his face for sure.
And look, the details of this shop have been written down here, too. Windibanks Pawnbrokery, Baker Street. Redemption deadline April 15th. Uh-huh.
Which is today's date.
That's what he wanted. He wanted to get that stuff.
Why would Mr. Benedict have all that information scrawled on the back of that piece of paper?
Suspicious. Okay, so it's definitely going to be this. Info about Miss Lestrade. Before we continue, I do want to see what they have to say about this. Looks like a completely different type of writing. It certainly is a flyer for Mr. Windibank's shop.
Let's see. Windibanks wants you. Pawnbroker's assistant required. It's an eye-catching advertisement, that's for sure.
I've seen the same flyer up here inside the shop, I think. Perhaps Mr. Windibank is always in need of more staff.
So Mr. Benedict came here to apply for a job? That's just too hard to believe.
Okay. Oops. Don't spin that fast, sir. Alright. So, we are going to present.
Take that!
Yes. What brought you to this shop in the first place is the info about Miss Lestrade.
Quite so, my dear fellow. It would appear that the writing in the sketch on the reverse of the flyer pertain to the pickpocket, Miss Lestrade, and to Mr. Winterbank's pawnbroker here. Ugh.
You originally told us that you had merely given chase after Miss Lestrade stole the redemption ticket from you.
But that, sir, is a thinly veiled lie.
It is the information on the back of the flyer that led you here today, by which I mean here to Winterbank's pawnbrokery, and today, the redemption deadline of that overcoat.
Yep. So you waited outside for the young girl matching the description you have written down to arrive. Ugh.
And you have...
Oh, sorry, wrong person. And you've gone to some lengths to hide the reason for your pursuit of Miss Lestrade. In other words, there is some ulterior motive for your actions. The cane which you unwittingly clutched to your person exhibits an incontrovertible contradiction. Okay, you had it for years. He's saying it's the bottom, but it's not. Even though that is weird.
What's a ferrule?
Thank you for asking. I was gonna look that up later.
It's the metal cap commonly found on the end of a cane, Mr. Nedhodo.
Ah, the bit that makes the nice clacking sound on the pavement.
Yes, exactly. And Mr. Holmes is right. It appears to be missing on this cane.
But it doesn't actually look broken, does it?
No, it doesn't, though the gentleman certainly did recoil when Mr. Holmes identified the cane as suspicious,
Which means it's the top of the cane, right?
In other words, there's some secret about the cane that Mr. Benedict would rather we don't know.
Okay. At least this time it's obvious. Is this the initialing? Is there anything else we can point out about the cane before I click on that? I mean, that's really the only thing that's sticking out. The initialing.
AG. Look here, Mr. Sato. There are some letters on the handle.
Ah yes, those must be initials, I think. In the West, it's customary for people to engrave their belongings with the first letters of their names.
So, Sherlock Holmes would be SH, you mean?
That's right. And the initials on this cane, obviously. Oh.
AG. Why does it feel as though that's not quite right?
I mean, Eggs Benedict or Egger, whatever, would be EB. AG. That's not Moriarty. So I don't know. Maybe I was wrong about him. I mean, that's really the only thing it could be, right? I'm just gonna double check before I present. There's really nothing else about the cane that's that important, right? No. Initialing. No. Okay, then that, I mean, that's really it.
Take that!
The contradiction of which I speak is, of course, the initialing.
A most astute observation, wouldn't you say, Mr. Eggert Benedict? Says that in quotations. We are led to believe, sir, that your initials are EB. Yet, in a most possessive manner, you have in your grasp a cane bearing the initials AG. An incontrovertible contradiction indeed, would you not agree? No, you're wrong. This cane isn't.
You said before that you'd had that cane for years. So don't try to tell us that you just borrowed it from a friend or found it in the park.
I just love how Sherlock and Ryunosuke are dancing around. And it's like, Edgar Benedict is like, I thought I had the coolest dance moves. And they're like,
No, we can dance better than you, sir.
this is a dance battle. In short, though you hold yourself to be a gentleman, you have withheld your true name. Oh, I heard a rip again. Ah, you recoil, sir. Something wrong. Oi, well, and in your recoiling, you inadvertently facilitate the answer of the next conundrum to present itself. Namely, what is the truth behind this rod you bear? Yes, your reaction betrays the truth. The handle, which you evidently would like to conceal, is the key to understanding this riddle. No, we can see the handle.
Let's consider the bare bones of what's happened here. Miss Lestrade redeemed that fine-looking overcoat, and now a mysterious man has appeared, introducing himself with a fake name, and claiming that the overcoat belongs to him. And I did say, didn't I, that I was surprised that the coat fit him, because if it fit Gina, and she's much smaller, then I was surprised it fit him. So clearly when he moved, he tore it because it doesn't really fit him. Haha! I was right from early on. Yeah!
But we know that he actually identified Miss Lestrade from a written description, which suggests that everything else he's told us is untrue.
So what we need to do here is somehow prove that the overcoat cannot possibly belong to him.
Alright, here we go. Let's look at the rip. Yeah, there it is. The split seam.
Oh, the seam on the shoulder there is coming apart, look.
So it is.
Do you know, a moment ago when Mr. Benedict was surprised by something that was said, I thought I heard him make a rather strange noise. I thought it was a fart, but it sounded a bit like a tiny growl. But now I think it was probably the sound of this seam ripping open.
If you look closely, it does seem to be a very tight fit. The sleeves are stretched to bursting, and he wouldn't have a hope of fastening it at the front. If he were to run around in it, I'm sure the whole thing would fall apart.
That I'd like to see. Not because I want to see him half naked, but, you know, just want to see that.
Sorry?
So how can we make Mr. Benedict run around?
She's really giving this some thought. I guess she's attracted to this douche.
Alright, let's present.
Take that!
The split seam, which you evidently would like to conceal, is the key to understanding this riddle, you see.
Oh. Yes, because the overcoat is rather obviously a poor fit.
Having forced it over your broad shoulders, the seam is already breaking apart.
My suspicions were aroused from the outset. When you so boldly lied about your name and so boldly waylaid this pickpocket. Ugh. This catalogue of untruths has all been for one very specific purpose. To steal the article that the young girl redeemed from Mr. Windbank. Ugh. Dramatic spin. But what really irks me is this. The considerable crime I initially imagined has been considerably curtailed. Alright, to abscond with a redeemed item. Yeah. Solved. Now, Mr. Benedict, let us continue.
which we will be doing in the next episode, because this is a long one, so I'm just going to split it in half. I think it's better that way. Thank you guys so very much for watching. I hope you're enjoying this, and until next time, have a nice day. Bye-bye.